Hi, I'm Rob Cosman. Welcome to the last interview of our last day of our first class in the fall of 2018. This is our Purple Heart project. We teach this in Niagara Falls, Ontario, at a place called Heartland Forest. A place I found 3 or 4 years ago, and it's everything wheelchair accessible, which worked out perfectly for our Purple Heart project when we started teaching it. We bring 6 civilians in who come in as paying students, and that enables us to host 6 very deserving combat wounded veterans. We come, we work long days. We're here at 8 in the morning and we stay until 10:30 at night, learning things like how to sharpen a hand plane freehand, how to sharpen and prepare your chisels, how to hand cut dovetails, how to hand cut mortise and tenon. And this is Dave Gray. Dave is from Utah, and my heart is partially in Utah. I went to school there at Brigham Young University. I lived there for the best part of 5 years. And my mentor, Dale Nish, who was a Canadian but lived in Utah, and his boys I almost grew up with, Daryl and Randy and Brian, who, by the way, are very big supporters of our Purple Heart project. Dave is a very unique veteran. Dave is a Vietnam vet. He's had boys serving in the military, and he'll let him tell you as much as he wants to tell you, but you need to know that we're sitting in the presence of greatness. Dave, how did you find out about the program?
I have a neighbor named Jared Cowan that happened to go to one of your
Seminar. I did
seminars, yes.
For Kip Christensen at BYU.
At BYU, yes. And you want the whole 9 yards of this?
Well, I remember him telling me that he had somebody that he came right to me after the presentation, and he was very excited almost of, I got a guy for you, because I'd asked him, find me somebody.
Yeah.
You tell as much as you want to tell.
Well, Jared was on the fire crew that helped put out the fire at my house. My shop caught on fire. I won't go into the details about how that happened, but it involved one of my grandchildren. And my wife and I had gone to a volleyball game where our granddaughter plays, a different granddaughter. And when we came back, we were tired. We took a nap. And there was a knock on the door, and it was Jared Cowan's wife, actually. And said, you know your shop is on fire. And we all went crazy trying to get out there and get it finished, stopped, put out, And the fire crew showed up and put it out. Long story short, I lost a lot of great equipment. At least I thought at the time it was great equipment. I spent 30 years collecting this equipment. Actually 35 years. Most of it was Boyce Crane and other really renowned equipment. Anyway, I lost every bit of it. It was about, I believe, $140,000 worth. And I won't say I went into depression, but I was pretty depressed and didn't think I could replace it. And that was about 4 years ago, in fact. And cutting short to the quick, that's when Jared, we met each other in a church meeting, and he said, I met a guy by the name of RobCosman. And he went and told me the story about the fact that he helps vets and has this program. And I'm always been sort of a set off by myself loner type. And a lot of it comes from the Vietnam experience. I don't, anyway, I live in the far corner of Utah somewhere, and I don't have a lot of friends, and what things I do just do it on my own. But I've always loved wood. My kids think I'm crazy because the first thing I do is pick up a piece of wood and I smell it. And then I go from there and try to identify mentally what kind of wood that is. So most of my experience working with wood has come as a relaxing thing for me. No matter what sort of stuff the world gives you, you can always retreat to the corners of your shop somewhere and dream up a project and start working on it. The good thing is you can always come back to it. You leave it, you come back, and that's where I'm at with woodworking. But because of my shop, I lost my shop. I've just about all but given up on trying to go back to it. At my age, pretty hard to try to replace all that stuff. And now, I got to be honest with you. I never thought I could replace my shop and the things that I do with just some simple hand tools. And this has been an amazing experience for me. I told somebody the other day, I'd run into an end of a board that needed fixed and finished, and I'd run over my orbital sander and real quick, and I'd turn it out. Now I don't have to do that. I never dreamed that I could, put a finish edge on a board with a plane. And I was thinking this the other day when you were giving one of your talks. The last thing you do before you go to bed is sharpen your stuff and put it away. I hate nothing would upset me more now than go up and have be in a project, go and pick up a tool and say, "Gee, I gotta sharpen this." I couldn't. That would frustrate me.
Yeah.
But now I can. I think before you go doing anything, you walk out of your shop, sharpen that stuff, put it back on. Then you don't have to grab something and wonder whether it's sharpened or not. But the sharpening part is, to me, is critical.
Yeah, it's liberating. Dave, can you share with them a little bit about your military background and your family military background? What the people need to know the kind of sacrifice that you've made. That's critical. But whatever you're comfortable with. But
I don't talk too much about detail about that stuff. I was shot several times, and I've got boys that went. Two boys that were in the Marine snipers. One was both of them were in Iraq. One went to 82nd Airborne. He was in Afghanistan. One older of the three lost his legs, both of his legs. Don't talk about too much. I think the key is you don't want to give them excuses to. When they come back, we try to honor them, and that's the best we can do. I'm ashamed of the fact that people treated Vietnam veterans the way they did, and we've done everything we could possibly do, especially in our community. Putting up remembrance. I don't know what you call them, stone. Carved stone with names of all the veterans and stuff, and try to honor those guys. And I think I would think the American public would be embarrassed the way they treated these young men that went off and gave all they could. It's one of the reasons most of us never really acquired any friends, because most of them were killed over there. If you made it back, you didn't come back with a lot of friends. I tried to talk my boys out of not going to the military, but they were pretty gung-ho about it. And I've got 6 sons. 3 of them went on missions. 3 of them decided to go on the military. But we don't make too big of a deal.
you've more than done your share, and I appreciate it, and I know a lot of people do, and a lot of the stuff that you Vietnam guys did paved the way and made this such a more positive and gracious experience for the soldiers who have followed.
Well, I wished, I know hindsight's always 20/20. I wished we would have found something. I think a lot of Vietnam vets especially wouldn't have to have gone through the public humiliation, the isolation that you create for yourself, because you don't want to be identified with that that it's a shame too, you know.
Yeah, they serve their country.
What I appreciate too, and I think what you've done is just a remarkable thing. I mean, I was reticent from the time Jared told me about this, and I thought, geez, this is another one of those campaigns that somebody's trying to do something that I'm gonna regret. You always hear so many times about stuff that goes on where vets get used for the wrong thing. My one boy that lost his legs, he's become a poster boy for that other place. And the governor of Nevada gets him to go around talking to people all the time, large audiences and stuff, in his behalf. And sometimes he wonders about that too. But nonetheless, I'm really grateful. I think it's, I know I'm 72, I know it's kind of late, but I feel like I'm going to be able to start something fresh. I did have some plans about making some legacy boxes and stuff. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, you told me about that.
I think that's something where I can pass on to my children, my sons especially, and that they may pass it on to their sons. And it's, I think, a simple gesture, you know, for them to show them how important your life matters. You know, where you can pass on the things that you've done, things that are important to you. Anyway, this is going to be a good start for me to, you know, and I have honestly not wanted to recreate that shop. I just haven't. It's just such a painful thing to watch that whole thing go up in smoke. But now I'm going to just start something small, you know, maybe, and, something I can just one man thing, and then I'll add on to it as I go. I have an accumulation of wood that would probably blow some people's minds.
Yeah.
Got a lot of wood that's just sitting there, and I need to do something with it. Some of it's milled and some of it's not, but I think I could find somebody that could cut it up, and I can go from there.
Need you to do me one last favor. I need you to talk to the vets, old and young out there, who perhaps have run up against the wall and they don't know what to do or where to turn. Somehow convince them to go on my site, RobCosman.com, go to the Purple Heart Project, fill out the application, and hopefully let us be able to help them, or at least offer some help.
You know, it goes without saying that most vets, especially from my era, they hit the bottom. They really don't know where to go. Sort of like being an alcoholic. You hit the bottom and you have to have help to come back out of that hole. And I think you're crazy if you, no matter how old you are. And that, to me, that's important. That's one of the frustrations about me. I think everybody, you know, you get 70, you think, oh boy, it's just too late for me to do anything. But I'm telling you, it's not. The good thing is it gives you a real uplift. You know, I think the satisfaction, number one, of being able to do something again with your hands. But I think more important, one of the things that I found here, I mean, I'm not in the best of health. And these guys, they've took me under their wings, and all these younger vets, and boy, just haven't had that feeling in a long time. Haven't had it. You know, where you feel like you're part of that little family that understands you. You know, you get sick and tired of people asking you crazy questions, and you don't have an answer for them because they wouldn't understand the answer anyway. And when you get around these fellas, that's what's good. You would all know that, how refreshing it is when you can talk to another vet, you know, that understands what you're going through. I would say get off your butt. Get on the website. Make a phone call. Talk to another vet. Any number of things, okay? And if you need it, these guys have my email, phone number, and I'll be glad. If you're over in the western part of the United States, I'll be glad to help you with this. Because I don't think you can, I know where these roads go that you take. They're all dead end. They most of the time don't go anywhere. And this is such a relief for whatever road you're on. And I can tell you, I could go through a half a bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label real quick. 3 packs of cigarettes a day. Those things pale in comparison in terms of what you're probably going through the rest of your life. You gotta get to where you can feel comfortable and do something. If you have to leave something to your kids, a message to them, this is the place to be. Doesn't last very long. It seems like it does, but it doesn't last very long.
Dr. Coop, I won't get into that big long story,
Nah.
but I certainly appreciate your service, brother. And thank you for being here. And I know how much those other vets appreciate you.
Yeah, it's been an experience. Those guys are like my wife. I think I brought around 5 or 6 of them. They won't let me sit down, won't let me stand up, don't want me to carry this plane. It's funny.
Because they know.
Well, they do.
They know.
There's that connection you always can make. There's so much more understanding. And you know what? They don't have to ask you questions to find out anything. It doesn't go beyond just how you doing and that's it. You don't get pumped for information about this or that. Just, yep, we get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing. You don't have to be nosy. You don't have to go digging on painful places, because they're tender places for a lot of vets. They don't get it. They don't get the help, and I better not go into that. They just don't get the help. There's a lot of talk about how much they help, but I think it's just they want the public to know that they're talking about helping them. I used to get that in education all the time. They put that message out there. Oh yeah, we've got so much money for them, but as a teacher, you never saw it. Where did money go? You said we had. Where'd that help go? She said we had. And a lot of times it doesn't show up. Not the right kind of help. They think a lot of times have these answers, I don't know how they think they can pull out of a person's memory the pain that they have to go through. And it's different for everybody. Some guys can handle more than others, but it's a hard thing to go through. Thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. You're the reason why we do this.
Well, hopefully we can.
Wish it was another week or two, but
I know, I feel like I've let you down, man.
well, you haven't. Don't you ever worry about that. And now that I go to Utah at least once, twice a year, so there'll be a knock on the door.
Well, you better, because if I find you came, it's me like my kids. Because I've got an extra house you can stay in.
We'll be there. We'll be there. Probably Jake too. Thank you, Coop. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys a lot. And I can't tell you how I was worried about coming. Because I don't like to fly anymore. I just don't like to fly. It took a lot for me to do that. But I'm so happy I did. Really am.
So are we. Thank you.